The air in Cliffside Athletic was sharp with the scent of liniment and stale sweat, a gritty perfume that clung to the walls of the back gym where the real fighters trained. Here the mats were scratched, the ropes frayed, and the air hummed with the rhythm of bruised knuckles and taped wrists. In contrast, the front gym gleamed like a stage. LED-lit mirrors branded protein shakes and boutique locker rooms designed for selfies, not scars. Memberships weren't cheap, and neither were the egos. Everyone knew where you belonged just by looking. Lena Foster, in her faded gray t-shirt and cracked flat-soled shoes, belonged to the shadows. She arrived at 6:23 a.m., as always unlocking the side door with a key that rattled softly in the lock. The hall lights flickered as she flipped the breakers near the supply closet. Her cleaning cart groaned as she rolled it out, its wheels thudding every third rotation. She adjusted the mop handle, wiped her palms on her navy work pants, and began her circuit. Her ID badge, clipped to a belt loop, read only Lena. No last name, no title, just staff. Her blue sweatshirt, knotted around her waist, swayed as she moved, the soles of her shoes squeaking faintly against the polished floor. Nobody looked twice, not until she stepped too close to the ring. It was a small misstep, barely a shift. A trainer had spilled pre-workout powder across a bench near the ring's edge, and Lena moved in with a towel to wipe it clean. That was all it took. "Yo, janitor's getting brave today," called Eli Grant, a weekend warrior with 6 amateur wins and a grin that screamed overconfidence. Shirtless, his gloves half-laced, he leaned against the ropes, already playing to the crowd. "Careful, sweetheart. Step in there and that mop's gonna have to fight for you." A few chuckles rippled from the treadmills. A woman stretching by the water cooler tilted her phone toward the scene, her lips curling into a smirk. Lena didn't respond. She wrung out the towel, the chalk dust smearing into gray streaks, and wiped the mat's edge with tight, precise strokes. "Maybe she thinks she's part of the program," someone muttered near the heavy bags. "Mop your way to muscle, right? Cliffside's new janitor circuit." More laughter. Another voice chimed in. "First you wipe the sweat, then you earn the bruises." Phones angled closer, their screens glinting in the mirrors. A few started filming, not even hiding it. Brandon, the junior coach with more biceps than sense, leaned on the ropes. "Relax, Eli," he said, his voice carrying a lazy drawl. "Let her finish disinfecting your ego." The crowd laughed again, but Eli didn't flinch. "I'm serious," he said, raising a glove and pointing at Lena. "1 round. It's Friday, let's entertain the troops." The gym buzzed with amusement. Brandon chuckled but didn't say no. "You're wild." Lena stayed silent, packing the towel into the cart's bucket and lifting the mop. "Guess that's a yes," someone called, still laughing. "She gonna mop the ring or fight in it?" Another voice answered. "Both." From the front desk, Kyle, the second trainer, smirked and shouted, "If she's got hands, maybe she can clean while sparring. Kill 2 birds." The room erupted. Brandon waved a hand. "Come on, someone get her gloves. Let's see what Mop Girl's got." It wasn't a joke anymore. It was a challenge, and every eye was on her. Lena's morning had started like any other. At 6:40, she'd swapped the first bin of towels, sprayed the mirrors, and unlocked the windows for circulation. The playlist hadn't kicked in yet, so her steps echoed across the empty gym. The back ring, with its worn benches and cracked vinyl bags, felt like the heart of the place, a space where sweat and struggle were currency. The front, with its glossy counters and branded merch, was still asleep, waiting for the fitness crowd to arrive with their sharp leggings and unblemished gear bags. Kyle, sipping an energy drink at the front desk, didn't look up as she passed with the cart. She didn't expect him to. Lena moved through her routine with a rhythm stitched into her bones. Clockwise figure eights with the mop. Always clockwise. No reason needed. The mats were scuffed, streaked with chalk and sweat that hadn't dried right. She sprayed, wiped, and stood back to survey her work. A water bottle, cracked and cloudy, sat in the cart's corner. She took a sip, reset her stance, and kept moving. By 7:15, the regulars trickled in. First, the fitness crowd. Men with taped wrists but no bruises, women with shaker bottles and perfect ponytails. Then the younger boxers, half awake, dragging gear across the tile. Lena slipped past them, lifting sweat buckets, sorting hand wraps unnoticed. 2 trainers arrived. Brandon, loud and showy, and Tony, older and quieter, his words measured. They didn't see her, or if they did, she was just part of the gym's furniture. A wall, a rack of gloves. At 7:40, she crossed behind the ring to replace the towel stack. The bin under the ropes always sagged after the first session, a detail that nagged at her. She ducked under the ropes, careful to stay low, and dragged the clean stack over. Her hand brushed the ring's frame as she steadied herself, and that's when Eli saw her. "Didn't know janitorial worked ringside now," he said, tossing his towel into the corner with a smirk. She didn't look up, just moved back under the ropes. Behind her, the chuckles spread. Kyle raised an eyebrow from the desk and went back to scrolling. Lena rolled the cart one step back, one to the side, parking it behind a pillar. The clock above the ring hung crooked, reading 8:12. 3 minutes left before the floor would be too crowded to mop. Her hand tightened on the mop handle, an unconscious adjustment. The gray fibers curled like steam against the bucket's edge. That's when Brandon's voice cut through, loud enough for the treadmills to hear. "If she's done sanitizing the ring, maybe we let her run around." It wasn't cruel, not exactly. Just the kind of jab the gym thrived on, aimed low to land easy. Lena stood still. A couple of fighters laughed. One nudged his friend. Phones came out, screens lighting the mirror's edges. The joke spread like chalk dust. "Let her go around," someone in the back corner echoed. "I'd spar her. Might learn something about cleaning a canvas." No one expected her to answer, and she didn't. But she stayed just long enough to be noticed, just long enough to let the challenge take root. She was wiping down the ring's edge when someone shouted, "Hey, mop girl, you're up next, right?" Laughter cracked across the gym. It wasn't sharp yet, just playful, but it gathered momentum. Eli stepped onto the mat, gloves slung over his shoulder, already performing. "If she wants to go one round, we can clear the ring. Might learn a thing or two about deep cleaning." The comments bounced from wall to wall. A guy near the freeway started recording. 2 women by the mirror rack turned, one raising her phone, the other whispering with a smirk. The energy shifted. Something was starting. Lena smoothed the cloth down the corner pad, stood and stepped toward her cart. Her gloves, patched and worn, were tucked in the side pocket. She pulled them out with one hand and walked toward the ring. The gym's laughter sharpened as Lena stepped into the ring. Her badge still clipped to her waistband. Her sleeves rolled once at the wrists. Eli bounced in place, stretching his neck, his grin wide. "I'll go easy," he called. "Don't want her quitting halfway through. That floor's not going to mop itself." More phones came out. A woman in a branded tank top leaned toward her friend. "She doesn't actually think this is real, does she?" Her friend laughed, lifting her phone. "It's gonna be quick. Blink and you miss it." The bell above the ring, unused for casual spars, clanged anyway, struck for effect. Brandon tossed Eli his mouthguard and leaned over the ropes. "You want gloves, Mop?" He snorted. "Not that you'll need them long." Lena knelt, wrapping her hands with slow, precise movements. Her eyes stayed low, her breathing steady. A group of trainees clustered near the mat. $10 says she bails before the round starts, one said. 15 says she's out in under 20 seconds, another replied. Eli's crew lined the ropes, razzing him with friendly jabs. "Try not to hit her too hard, champ. Might lose your gym discount." Lena finished taping her wrists, pulled on her gloves, and stood. Her eyes flicked once to Eli, then settled on his chest. No smile, no words. She walked to her corner and waited. The bell rang clean and sharp. Eli stepped forward, rolling his shoulders, throwing a light jab to the air for the crowd. Someone clapped. A phone chimed as it started recording. Lena didn't move. Her gloves rested at her waist, her stance loose but balanced. "All right," Eli called, half laughing. "We dancing or cleaning today?" He threw a playful jab toward her chest. She slipped it, stepping left. No counter. The crowd chuckled. "Show her the broomstick combo," someone shouted. Eli threw a jab cross combo. She wasn't there when it landed. Her back foot pivoting, his gloves missing by inches. Brandon smirked from the ropes. "Hit where she's standing, not where she was yesterday." Lena shifted again, her weight gliding smoothly. Her eyes stayed on Eli's ribs, tracking his breath. More laughter rippled, but it thinned. Phones hovered higher. "She's just dodging," someone muttered. "Doesn't even know how to throw." Eli closed the gap, tapping his gloves together. "You're just making me look good now." He dropped low for a hook. She rolled under it, clean, her shoes silent on the canvas. A veteran trainer with a clipboard paused, his eyes narrowing. "Wait," he said under his breath. Eli tried again, faster, a right with real weight. Lena ducked, spun off the line. His glove hit air. The crowd quieted. Not silent, but close. "She's not just dodging," someone whispered. "She's reading him." The clipboard trainer nodded. "That's drilled." Eli's grin faded. He stepped in harder, shoulder forward, a combo building. Lena waited, her body coiled but calm. Her right foot slid an inch. Then she struck, a single hook, tight and fast below his ribs. The thud was blunt, final. Eli staggered, his hands dropping. He folded at the waist, dropping to his knees, gasping. His face paled, his gloves limp against the mat. The gym froze. Phones lowered. The clipboard trainer stepped into the ring, hand raised. "Back," he said sharply. "Don't touch him yet." Brandon climbed the apron, eyes wide. "Is he breathing okay?" "Yeah," the trainer said, crouching. "She got him clean." A phone hit the mat with a soft clap. The front desk monitor buzzed, its playlist ignored. Eli rolled slightly, grimacing, his breath shallow. Lena stepped back, her stance relaxed, her gloves at her sides. She didn't look at the crowd, didn't speak. The trainer looked up. "She's trained." That was real. The bell hung still. The mop bucket's wheel clicked once across the gym. Silence swallowed the room. Then the front door opened. Coach Ben stepped in, keys in hand, his hoodie catching the wind. His presence was heavy, his silence heavier. His eyes found Lena in the ring before anyone else. "Is that Lena in there?" he asked, his voice low but cutting. Every head turned. Lena stood near Eli, one hand on the rope, her gloves untied. Her badge glinted faintly, her breathing calm. Ben stepped forward. "Someone want to tell me why you've got Lena Foster in janitor's clothes sparring the gym's amateur clown?" The room stirred. A young coach blinked. "Her name's what?" Ben pointed to a faded photo on the wall behind the treadmills. "Go check. Middle row, blue gloves, cracked knuckles. 3-time regional lightweight champ. Ran drills here before you knew a jab from a hook." Someone jogged over, staring at the photo. "Oh my God," he said. "That's her." Brandon swallowed, his eyes darting to the whiteboard. Ben's voice stayed low. "You knew enough to mock her. That's always easier." The playlist stopped. Eli was still down, the trainer waving for ice. Lena stepped back, letting them work. Her gloves hung on a towel hook by the radiator, dripping slowly. Ben rested his hands on the ropes. "She used to coach here," he said. "Before the sponsorships, the merch, the mirrors. Back when you fought for mat time and didn't waste it." The silence deepened. "She doesn't need to prove anything. Never did." Lena peeled the tape from her wrists, tossed it into a bin, and climbed out of the ring. She walked past Ben, picked up her mop, and rolled the cart past the vending machines. No one spoke. Brandon stepped back as she passed, pulling down a poster that read, "Lightweight Challenge, who's brave enough?" Kyle erased the whiteboard's Eli versus Mop, the ink squeaking under his cloth. The woman who'd live-streamed deleted her video. A trainee who'd joked earlier stared at his hands, stepping aside as Lena passed. She cleaned quietly. Vending machines, dumbbell racks, her gloves still dripping. Tony, the older coach, nodded once as she passed. She didn't nod back. By the time she reached the back door, the gym felt smaller, quieter. She paused, glanced at the empty ring, its ropes slack in the dim light. Then she nodded once and left. The next morning, the gym opened on time. The music was softer, the conversations hushed. Someone cleaned a bench before using it. A new towel stack sat even. On the wall above the lockers, a sheet of paper was taped up, block letters in black. She didn't say a word. We heard her anyway. Lena didn't return, but her presence lingered. The gym learned what strength looked like when it didn't shout. It cleaned the ring and walked away.